Some days life feels like a storm that forgot where the shore was. And you're standing in it, drenched, trembling, trying to command the thunder. There comes a season in every person's life when nothing moves. You pray, you plan, you pour your heart into the soil of every dream, yet nothing grows. You speak to the universe and it seems to look the other way. The doors you once walked through without hesitation now stay shut, and no matter how hard you knock, no echo answers back. It is in those moments you begin to wonder, has life stopped listening to me? You question your worth, your faith, your path, and sometimes even your very existence. You start to believe that maybe you are invisible to the world, that your efforts have gone unnoticed, that you are standing in a storm with no one coming to rescue you. But my love, hear this. Life hasn't stopped listening. It's simply teaching you to listen to yourself. There's a deep silence that comes before a new chapter begins. The silence feels cruel, but it is sacred. It's not punishment, it's preparation. When life seems unresponsive, it's not because it has turned against you, it's because it's trying to turn you inward. There are truths within you that can't be heard over the noise of constant striving. Life withdraws its immediate responses to teach you the language of stillness, so you can finally hear the sound of your own soul. When the outer world goes quiet, it is your inner voice that must rise. You see, we grow up believing that effort guarantees outcome, that if we give our best, life will always give something back. But life is not a vending machine where you insert consistency and receive blessings. It's more like the ocean, unpredictable, vast, and untamed. It will carry you to shore, yes, but not always the shore you had in mind. And sometimes when you're drowning in questions, life holds you under just long enough to teach you how to breathe underwater. That's not cruelty, that's transformation. The hardest thing you will ever learn is that silence is also an answer. You can scream into the heavens, "Why me?" and receive no reply. And that absence of an answer is the answer, because you are meant to stop asking and start trusting. You are meant to stand still long enough to see that what you wanted so desperately to happen wasn't right for you or wasn't right yet. The delay is not denial, it's divine direction. We often think peace will arrive when life cooperates, when people treat us better, when the path is clear, when the answers are obvious. But peace is what happens when we stop needing life to respond in our favor. It's learning to stand in uncertainty without letting it break you. It's whispering to yourself, even in silence, "I am safe." Because the truth is, when life seems quiet, something sacred is working in the unseen. Your story is still being written just between the lines. There are times when doors close because you've outgrown the rooms behind them. You may cry over what's gone, not realizing that what you lost was never meant to hold the version of you that's emerging. The job that ended, the friendship that faded, the dream that dissolved, none of it is wasted. Life heard your silent prayers for peace, for purpose, for alignment, and it began removing everything that could no longer walk beside your growth. But the process of receiving peace often feels like losing control. You begged for change, and when change came wearing the face of loss, you mistook it for punishment. Don't resent the pause. The pause is sacred space. In that stillness, your spirit gathers strength. You are learning patience, faith, and the quiet kind of courage that doesn't need applause. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. Just breathe, observe, and allow life to unfold without demanding that it make sense. The same God, the same universe that orchestrated the sunrise can certainly handle your situation. Your job is not to control the plan. Your job is to trust the process. When life stops listening to you, listen to the lessons beneath the silence. Perhaps it's teaching you that peace doesn't depend on answers. Maybe it's reminding you that the love you seek from others is the love you've been withholding from yourself. Maybe it's asking you to stop begging for doors that lead you backward. Every unanswered prayer is an act of mercy. Every delay is protection in disguise. The universe will always give you what you need before it ever gives you what you want. And you, dear heart, must learn to be okay with that. You must learn to say, I don't understand this yet, but I will not lose my peace trying to force what's not meant for me. The moment you stop demanding clarity and begin embracing mystery, you step into a softer power, the power of faith. Faith is not knowing what comes next, but trusting that whatever comes will carry purpose. So when the world goes quiet and your plans fall apart, don't rush to rebuild. Sit in the ruins for a while. Feel the weight of stillness. There's wisdom in the waiting, because sometimes the silence you fear is the space where you finally meet yourself without the noise of expectation. Sometimes what you call unanswered prayers are just answered differently. And sometimes the peace you've been chasing begins only when you stop running. You are not forgotten. You are being refined. You are being prepared for rooms where your name will not have to be shouted to be recognized. You are learning to find joy that doesn't depend on circumstances. You are learning that real peace doesn't come from controlling the outcome, but from surrendering the illusion of control altogether. So if life seems not to be listening, don't despair. The quiet is not the absence of movement. It's the incubation of miracles. The same silence that feels empty now will one day echo with understanding. You will look back and realize that the universe was never deaf to your cries. It was simply tuning your heart to a higher frequency, one where peace hums softly beneath every unanswered question. And when that moment comes, when clarity finally meets calm, you will thank the silence that once scared you. You will thank the stillness that once broke you, because it was in that stillness that you found your power, your patience, and the kind of peace that no chaos can ever take away. Letting go. 2 words that sound so simple, yet carry the weight of entire lifetimes. It's easy to say, release what no longer serves you, but no one speaks of the trembling that happens in the chest when you actually try to do it. No one mentions the ache of untying yourself from people, dreams, or moments that once made you feel whole. Letting go is not a single act. It's a series of small funerals for the versions of you that believed things would last forever. It's standing in front of what you loved and whispering, thank you for what you gave me, but I cannot keep holding on to what's already gone. The art of letting go is not taught, it's lived. It begins the moment you realize that clinging doesn't keep anything close. It only exhausts your soul. You can love something deeply and still have to release it. Love does not always mean holding on. Sometimes it means stepping aside with grace. We often confuse attachment for devotion, thinking that if we stop holding, we'll lose ourselves. But the truth is, we lose ourselves when we refuse to release what's already left. There are things you outgrow without meaning to. Friendships fade, seasons shift, and dreams evolve, and yet you keep holding on to them, thinking you owe loyalty to what once felt right. But not everything that started beautifully is meant to last eternally. Some things come into your life to awaken you, to stretch you, to teach you how to love, and then they must leave so you can continue to grow. To let go is to honor their purpose, to say, you played your part in my becoming, and now I must continue the story. Sometimes you'll have to release people who still love you, because love alone is not enough to sustain connection when paths diverge. You'll have to forgive without apology, move forward without closure, and smile while your heart aches. You'll learn that letting go is not forgetting, it's remembering without pain. It's saying, I loved you, but I love my peace more. That's not coldness. That's maturity. That's evolution. There is a sacred moment between holding and releasing, a pause where you feel like you're suspended in air. That's the bridge of transformation. It's uncomfortable, uncertain, and it feels endless. But that space is where strength is born. That's where you discover that your identity doesn't belong to what you lost. It belongs to what you carry forward. You are not defined by who stayed or who left, by what succeeded or what collapsed. You are defined by your capacity to continue, to keep loving, to keep hoping, to keep shining through the unraveling. Letting go without losing yourself means remembering that the story isn't over just because the chapter has ended. When something falls apart, it doesn't mean you failed. It means you're being redirected. Sometimes what you lose clears space for what your spirit truly needs. The universe doesn't take without reason. It reshapes so you can receive differently. But you must stop gripping the old door to notice the new one opening quietly behind you. It's easy to mistake letting go for indifference, but it's the opposite. Indifference is numbness. Letting go is awareness. It's choosing to stop fighting reality. It's saying, I trust the timing even when it breaks my heart. It takes more courage to release than to resist, because resistance keeps you in pain. Every time you try to control what's slipping away, you drain your peace trying to rewrite a story that has already been concluded. And no amount of effort can keep what is meant to leave. The art of letting go also means releasing the version of yourself that existed in certain seasons. You are not who you were a year ago or even yesterday. You are allowed to evolve beyond your past self. You are allowed to outgrow your own patterns. You are allowed to become softer where you once were guarded, quieter where you once were loud, and stronger where you once were broken. Don't cling to old identities out of fear that growth means losing yourself. You don't lose yourself by changing. You lose yourself by staying stuck. Letting go without losing yourself means holding compassion for the one inside you who tried so hard to make everything work. It means honoring your own effort even when it wasn't enough. It's saying, I forgive myself for not knowing when to stop fighting. You do not owe anyone a lifetime of struggle just to prove your loyalty. You do not owe your peace as payment for being misunderstood. You owe yourself freedom. Freedom from trying to save what refuses to be healed. Freedom from carrying burdens that were never yours. Freedom from believing that endings mean failure. When you begin to release, it will hurt. You will feel the absence like an echo in your bones. You will reach for what is no longer there. But slowly, peace will enter through the cracks that pain left behind. You'll wake up one morning and realize you no longer flinch when you remember. You no longer check for what's missing. You'll notice a stillness where once there was chaos. That's how peace returns. Not with noise, but with quiet arrival. Letting go doesn't mean closing your heart. It means keeping it open, even after it's been broken. It means loving again without bitterness, trusting again without fear, and believing again without proof. The goal is not to avoid pain, it's to stop living from it. You can still love the memory while freeing yourself from the weight of it. You can still honor what was while choosing peace for what is. And remember this, what's truly yours will never require you to beg, chase, or compromise your worth to keep it. What's meant for you will align with your peace, not disturb it. If holding on steals your calm, it's not love, it's attachment. And attachment is not freedom, it's fear wearing the mask of devotion. So when it's time to let go, do it with open hands, not clenched fists. Bless what leaves, bless what stays, bless yourself, for the courage to continue. Because the truth is, you never lose anything real. You simply make space for something deeper, truer, and more aligned with who you're becoming. You will find that in the act of releasing, you don't lose yourself. You find the self that was buried beneath all that grasping. You find the self that no longer needs to be needed to feel worthy. The self that doesn't chase love but radiates it. The self that walks away not in anger but in peace. Letting go is not an ending. It's an awakening. It's the art of returning to your own heart, lighter, freer, and finally at peace with what was never yours to hold forever. There comes a moment when your hands grow tired from holding, your heart aches from resisting, and your spirit whispers, "Enough." That whisper is not weakness. It's not giving up. It's the quiet invitation to surrender, to finally stop fighting what's already happening. For most of us, surrender feels like failure because we were raised to believe that strength only looks like struggle, that power means never bending, and that surrender is the same as defeat. But it isn't. Surrender is the moment when you stop drowning in resistance and allow life to carry you towards something gentler, something wiser, something meant. You see, we've been taught to wrestle with life, to plan every detail, to force every outcome, to make things happen even when they resist becoming. But there is a difference between perseverance and control. Perseverance is moving in faith, control is moving in fear. Perseverance trusts that life will unfold in divine order. Control demands that it unfold on our schedule. And when things don't, we panic, we push, we lose our peace, trying to rewrite a story that was never ours to edit. Surrender is what happens when you finally realize that peace will never come from winning every battle. Peace arrives when you stop needing to fight at all. It's that deep exhale after years of trying to manage what was never your responsibility to hold together. It's the holy silence that follows the storm, not because you conquered it, but because you stopped needing to. There are times when the universe will block your plans, not because you're unworthy, but because you're meant to grow differently. Yet instead of listening, you keep fighting. You say, "I'll make this work," and force what's already crumbling. You stay in situations long after your spirit has left, convincing yourself that if you just try harder, it will change. But surrender asks you to stop trying to resurrect what's already lifeless. It asks you to stop bargaining with fate. It's not about giving up. It's about giving in to truth, to flow, to grace. Surrender does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying what isn't yours. You can love someone deeply and still know that your healing requires distance. You can believe in a dream and still understand that this is not its season. You can want something with all your heart and still release it, trusting that what's yours will never need to be forced. Surrender is not the abandonment of effort. It's the alignment of energy. It's no longer saying, how can I make this happen? But how can I allow this to unfold? There is a sacred humility in surrender. It's the realization that you are not the architect of every outcome. You are the vessel through which divine timing moves. The river does not question the direction of its current. It flows, trusting that the ocean awaits. You, too, must learn to trust that every delay, every disappointment, every detour is a redirection, not rejection. You are being carried, even when it feels like you're being stripped bare. Sometimes surrender means walking away from battles you could win because they are not worth the peace they would cost. Sometimes it means standing still while others race ahead, knowing that your timing is sacred, even if it looks delayed. And sometimes surrender is simply whispering, "I don't have all the answers, but I trust there's meaning in this moment." That quiet trust is more powerful than any victory gained through resistance. When you surrender, you stop trying to control how people see you, how they understand you, how they respond to you. You begin to realize that their perception is not your prison. You don't have to explain your peace to anyone. You don't have to fight to prove your worth. You can let misunderstanding exist without losing your center. That is liberation, to walk through life without needing to justify your journey. The ego will tell you that surrender is failure because it feeds on control. The spirit knows that surrender is freedom because it feeds on trust. The ego says, I can fix this. The spirit says, I can flow with this. And when you shift from fixing to flowing, you begin to see that everything has its place, even the pain, even the pauses. You understand that control was never safety. It was only illusion. Real safety comes from faith, from knowing that even in chaos, there's a divine rhythm holding it all together. There will be moments when surrender feels like heartbreak. You will cry letting go of what you thought would last forever. You will question why things had to end, why people had to leave, why paths had to diverge. But one day you will look back and realize that if life had given you everything you asked for, you would have missed everything you truly needed. The rejection was redirection. The ending was protection. The silence was guidance. Surrender is not defeat because nothing real is ever lost in surrender. What dissolves in the process is illusion, the illusion of control, of certainty, of permanence. What remains is truth, the strength that doesn't depend on circumstance, the faith that doesn't require evidence, the peace that doesn't crumble with change. You will find that surrender doesn't empty your life. It empties your hands so you can receive what's been waiting for you all along. The power of surrender is subtle but profound. It doesn't roar, it whispers. It doesn't demand, it allows. It doesn't force, it flows. It's the soft voice inside you that says, let it be. And though the world may not understand, you'll feel an unshakable calm begin to grow within you. Because when you stop fighting what is, you open the door to what can be. Surrender asks you to believe that life is not against you. It's for you, even when it's breaking you open. Every challenge, every delay, every loss is shaping you for something greater. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. And when you finally stop resisting, when you finally open your palms and say, I trust, the entire universe rearranges itself in your favor. So when the weight feels unbearable and you no longer have the strength to fight, don't see it as a sign of weakness. See it as your soul saying, it's time. It's time to release the battle, to soften, to let life lead. It's time to discover that surrender is not about giving up. It's about giving in to peace. Because peace was never found in control. It was always waiting on the other side of letting go. You will not lose by surrendering. You will be found. You will not fall apart. You will finally fall into alignment. You will not be defeated. You will be delivered back to yourself, back to grace, back to the quiet knowing that every ending carries a new beginning disguised within it. Surrender is not the closing of your story, it's the opening of your spirit. And when you understand that, you will never fear surrender again. There is a certain peace that only comes when you stop arguing with what is. Life will not always unfold in the way you imagined, and people will not always act in the ways you expect. But there's a deep exhaustion that comes from trying to change what has already happened. You can fight the facts all you want. You can replay the conversation, rewrite the ending, reimagine the choice, yet nothing changes the truth of what is. The sooner you stop wrestling with reality, the sooner you begin to breathe again. We all have moments when we wish life had been kinder. We look at broken dreams, lost loves, and sudden detours and think, it shouldn't have gone this way. But reality doesn't take direction from our desires. It doesn't bend for our comfort. It simply is. And the more we fight it, the more we suffer. Peace begins when you stop demanding that the present be something other than it is. Peace is not in the perfect circumstance. It's in the acceptance of the one you're already in. Arguing with reality is like standing in the rain and demanding the clouds to stop. You can shout at the sky, you can curse the storm, but the rain will fall whether you bless it or not. Wisdom says, open your umbrella, child. Don't fight what you can learn to walk through. Every moment you resist life, you close yourself to its hidden lessons. Every time you insist it should be different, you lose the chance to see its deeper meaning. Sometimes we confuse acceptance with agreement, but acceptance doesn't mean you approve of what happened, it means you acknowledge it. It's the decision to stop wasting your energy on arguing with the past and instead begin using that energy to build your future. Reality may not be what you wanted, but it is the only ground on which peace can grow. You cannot heal from a wound you keep pretending doesn't exist. You cannot move forward while your mind is still fighting yesterday. The mind is clever at creating illusions. It will tell you that if you replay things enough, if you think hard enough, if you keep analyzing, somehow the outcome will change. But reality doesn't respond to repetition. It responds to recognition. When you say, yes, this happened, it hurt, but it's real, something inside you softens. The war within ends. You can finally begin to see the situation not as an enemy, but as a teacher. There's a quiet strength in looking at life and saying, I don't like this, but I accept it. That is not giving up. That is growing up. That is maturity. The moment you stop arguing with reality, you reclaim the power that resistance stole from you. Acceptance is not passive. It's the most active form of wisdom. It says, I cannot change the storm, but I can choose how I walk through it. It takes courage to let go of should. The mind loves to say, they should have stayed. I should have known better. Life should have been easier. But should is the vocabulary of suffering. It binds you to a version of reality that no longer exists. The truth is, everything that has happened had its reason, even if you don't yet see it. Life unfolds according to lessons, not logic. What feels unfair today may be the very thing that sets you free tomorrow. Think of all the times you fought what life was trying to show you, the relationship you begged to save, the opportunity you chased, even after it turned hollow, the moment you refused to accept that something had ended. Each time life whispered, let go, and you shouted back, not yet. And in that argument, you lost time, energy, peace. You were trying to control the uncontrollable, to mold the truth into something more convenient. But peace will never exist in a place built on denial. Peace only lives where truth is welcomed. There is freedom in the words, this is what it is, not in resignation, but in recognition. Because once you face what is real, you can finally decide what to do next. You can take responsibility without guilt, heal without resistance, and love without illusions. Reality is the ground beneath your feet. It may be uneven, but it's solid. And that solidity is what allows you to rise again. Don't argue with the past. It's already written. Don't argue with people who've shown you who they are. Believe them. Don't argue with endings. They are simply beginnings in disguise. Every moment you stop arguing, you make room for something new to enter. You allow peace to replace pain, wisdom to replace confusion, and clarity to replace denial. We often think that acceptance means losing control, but in truth, it's how you gain it back. When you accept reality, you stop wasting strength on impossible battles. You stop trying to rewrite the past or manipulate the future. You become grounded in the present, and from that groundedness, you can move forward with purpose. Acceptance doesn't trap you. It frees you from the constant war between how life is and how you think it should be. There is a grace that comes when you stop resisting what already exists. It's like exhaling after years of holding your breath. You begin to see that reality isn't cruel. No, it's just honest. It doesn't cater to comfort. It calls you to clarity. The more you open your eyes to the truth, the less power pain has over you. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become a witness of wisdom. Life is a series of changes, some gentle, some shattering, and the only way to move through them peacefully is to stop demanding that they make sense before you accept them. Sometimes understanding comes long after acceptance. Sometimes peace comes before answers. The universe rarely reveals the full picture while you're still clinging to your preferred version of it. Only when your hands release control can life place something better in them. So when you find yourself in pain, pause before you argue with it. Ask instead, what is this trying to show me? When things don't go your way, instead of saying, why me? Try, what now? That shift from resistance to acceptance transforms suffering into strength. You begin to see that reality is not your enemy. Your refusal to accept it is. In the end, life will always do what it must. People will leave. Seasons will shift. Plans will change. You can fight it and break, or you can flow with it and rise. Reality is not cruel. It is clear. It is the mirror that shows you where your peace begins and where your struggle ends. And when you stop arguing with it, you finally hear the gentle truth it's been trying to tell you all along. You were never meant to control everything, only to love yourself enough to find peace within anything. There comes a time in life when you realize not everyone deserves access to your peace. Not every conversation is worth your spirit. Not every connection deserves your closeness. Your energy is sacred. It is the quiet pulse of your being, the unseen force that guides your days, shapes your emotions, and builds the life you live. When your energy is drained, everything begins to dim. Your joy, your purpose, your clarity. Protecting it is not selfish. It is survival. It's the way you honor your own soul. You were not created to absorb everyone's pain or to carry the weight of their storms. You were not meant to keep explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. Yet so often, you pour and pour until your cup is dry, mistaking self-sacrifice for love, thinking that being kind means being available to everything and everyone. But kindness without boundaries becomes exhaustion. Compassion without discernment becomes chaos. There is strength in saying no more. There is power in standing still and saying, my peace is not up for negotiation. To protect your energy, you must first understand how valuable it is. Every morning, you wake with a certain amount of spiritual light, your focus, your calm, your joy. Throughout the day, people, situations, and thoughts either nurture that light or drain it. The people who constantly complain, who gossip, who only reach out when they need something, they chip away at that light. The thoughts that replay old wounds, the fears that whisper you're not enough, they dim it too. Before you know it, you're carrying a heaviness that doesn't belong to you, wondering why your spirit feels tired even when your body has rested. Protecting your energy begins with awareness. It's noticing how you feel after each interaction. Some people will make you breathe deeper, others will make you hold your breath. Pay attention. Your body always knows who feels like peace and who feels like tension. Your spirit always knows who adds to your calm and who subtracts from it. The moment you start honoring those signals, you begin reclaiming your power. You must learn to be selective with your access. Not everyone deserves front row seats to your life. Some people belong in the audience, some only in passing. It doesn't mean you hate them. It means you've learned to love yourself. Protecting your energy isn't about walls. It's about filters. You can still love people and not let them live in your mind rent-free. You can still forgive and choose distance. You can still be kind without being constantly available. Peace doesn't mean isolation, it means discernment. You are allowed to mute the noise that disrupts your healing. You are allowed to let the phone ring. You are allowed to walk away from conversations that drain your spirit. You don't owe anyone your constant response. You don't owe explanations for your silence. Protecting your energy means choosing quiet over chaos, rest over reaction, and intention over impulse. It means remembering that not every battle deserves your fire. Some are best won by walking away. There will always be people who misunderstand your peace as arrogance. They'll call your distance coldness because they can no longer feed on your warmth. But don't let guilt drag you back into spaces you've already outgrown. You're not responsible for who others become when they no longer have access to your energy. You're responsible only for keeping your light steady. You cannot save people by drowning in their storms. You cannot heal others by breaking yourself. You can only offer from what overflows, never from what depletes. Protecting your energy also means watching your own thoughts. The mind can be the greatest thief of peace. It will replay the insult, reopen the wound, and rehearse the pain until you forget that you're free. Guard your inner dialogue as fiercely as you guard your time. Speak gently to yourself. Replace, "I can't believe this happened to me," with, "I'm proud of how I survived it." Replace, "They hurt me," with, "They taught me what to never allow again." You can't always control what enters your mind, but you can control what stays there. Sometimes protecting your energy means protecting your solitude. The world glorifies constant connection, the noise, the scrolling, the talking, but there's medicine in silence, there's wisdom in stillness. You do not need to attend every argument you're invited to. You do not need to correct every wrong opinion about you. Let them talk. Let them assume. The truth doesn't need defense. It reveals itself in time. Your energy is too precious to waste on proving your purity to those who thrive on misunderstanding. Understand this. Peace is not passive. It's an active daily choice. It's waking up and deciding that no matter how loud the world gets, you will not let it shake your calm. It's refusing to match anyone's chaos. When someone throws anger, you respond with silence. When they throw noise, you respond with stillness. When they seek to pull you into their storm, you stand firm in your calm. That is power. Real strength is not in reaction, it's in restraint. Protecting your energy is also about where you place your attention. Energy flows where focus goes. If you keep staring at what's broken, your spirit will break with it. If you keep revisiting what you lost, your peace will remain trapped in the past. Shift your gaze toward gratitude. Count the things that are still good, still gentle, still beautiful. Gratitude expands whatever it touches. When your heart is anchored in gratitude, negativity can't find room to stay. You are the gatekeeper of your peace. Every no you say to drama is a yes to your healing. Every boundary you draw is a love letter to your well-being. Every time you choose to protect your calm instead of chasing validation, you rise closer to the version of yourself that peace has been calling you to become. So be intentional with your space. Protect your mornings, guard your nights, fill your hours with what nourishes, not what drains. Remember, your energy is your currency. Spend it wisely. Don't waste it on arguments that lead nowhere, people who refuse to grow, or worries that steal tomorrow's joy. And most importantly, protect your heart, not by closing it, but by keeping it clean. Bitterness, resentment, and revenge are thieves of peace. Release them. Protect your light by forgiving, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. Forgiveness doesn't excuse their behavior, it clears your path. It's how you make room for new blessings to find you. In the end, protecting your energy is how you show reverence to the life within you. It's a declaration that says, "My peace matters, my joy matters, my calm is my crown." And when you finally treat your energy like sacred ground, the world around you begins to mirror that respect. You attract what honors your boundaries. You manifest what matches your vibration. You live from fullness instead of fatigue. There are moments in life when everything you prayed for seems to stand still, as if time itself has stopped listening. You've done the work. You've given your heart, and still the doors won't open. The silence of waiting can feel louder than rejection. It's in that in-between, between what was and what could be, that faith is truly tested. Because trusting the timing you don't understand is one of the hardest yet most transformative acts of peace you'll ever learn. The human heart is impatient by nature. It wants answers now, healing now, resolution now. We are taught that progress means movement, that slowness means failure. But life has its own rhythm, a divine tempo that doesn't dance to our clocks. Sometimes the universe pauses not to punish you, but to prepare you. What you call delay, life calls alignment. What you see as being stuck is often the soil quietly rearranging itself beneath your feet, making space for roots that can hold the weight of what's next. You may not see it yet, but every moment of waiting has meaning. The unanswered prayer, the opportunity that slipped away, the silence that kept you awake, they are not evidence of neglect. They are sacred pauses, invitations to trust something greater than your own understanding. Because when you're being delayed, you're not being denied, you're being directed. And that shift from frustration to faith changes everything. So many of us confuse control with power. We think that if we can predict, plan, or push, we can secure the outcome we desire. But true strength lies in surrender. Real wisdom is in loosening your grip when you've done all you can. The timing you can't control is often the very timing that protects you. Sometimes the things you want most are kept from you because they're not yet ready, or because you're not yet ready for them. What feels like divine silence may be divine mercy. You may think life is holding something back from you, when in truth, it's holding something sacred for you. Think back to the moments that once broke your heart, the jobs you didn't get, the people who walked away, the plans that fell apart. At the time, you couldn't understand the reason. It felt unfair, maybe even cruel. But look at you now. You survived. And more than that, you grew. You see now that what didn't work out was redirecting you toward what was meant for you all along. Every closed door was protection in disguise. Every delay was divine redirection. Every heartbreak was pruning you for peace. Trusting the timing you don't understand requires a softer kind of strength, the kind that doesn't rush the unfolding, the kind that breathes even when the answers haven't arrived, the kind that whispers, "I may not see it, but I know it's working for me." That's not denial, that's maturity. That's faith at its highest vibration, not begging for the storm to end, but trusting that it's cleansing something within you as it passes. There is a divine intelligence moving through your life, even in the stillness. The same force that turns a seed into a tree and the night into dawn is guiding you too. But you must stop measuring your progress by human timelines. A flower doesn't bloom because it's told to. It blooms because the season is right. And you too are a part of that divine rhythm. When it's your season, nothing and no one can block your becoming. But until then, you must be patient with the soil. Patience is not about waiting idly. It's about waiting with trust. It's about tending to the present moment, watering your growth, nurturing your peace, even when you can't yet see the results. You may not control the timing, but you control your readiness. You control how you show up while you wait. Will you spend your days resenting the delay, or will you use them to refine your spirit? Sometimes your readiness determines the arrival of your blessing. When your energy aligns with what you desire, the universe doesn't make you chase. It brings it to your door. There's beauty in the unseen orchestration of it all. The people you haven't met yet, the opportunities still forming, the moments waiting to find you, they are all aligning behind the scenes. You are part of a masterpiece that can only be revealed piece by piece. When you rush the process, you rob yourself of the beauty of becoming. You cannot rush a sunrise or force a tide. You cannot pull petals open without destroying the bloom, and you cannot demand peace while resisting patience. Every season of delay teaches you something essential. Waiting humbles you. It teaches gratitude. It strips away illusion and reveals who you really are without movement, without noise. It reminds you that your worth is not measured by productivity, that your peace is not defined by progress. In the waiting, you learn that stillness is not stagnation. It's sacred preparation. It's life whispering, be still, something good is forming. But trusting the timing also means letting go of comparison. You will destroy your peace if you keep measuring your timeline against someone else's. Their season is not your season. Their harvest does not mean you've been forgotten. Everyone's path is tailored to their purpose. Some flowers bloom in spring, others take until autumn, and both are beautiful, both are right on time. When you trust that what's meant for you cannot miss you, envy dissolves and peace takes its place. There's a story unfolding in your silence. And though you may not yet see the chapter titles, you must believe the author knows what they're doing. Every delay is a paragraph being written, every detour a plot twist shaping your growth. Life is not withholding your happiness, it's weaving it with precision. You cannot see the full tapestry while you're standing in the threads. Step back, breathe, and trust that the pattern is forming exactly as it should. And yes, there will be moments when your faith will waver, when your heart will question if it's worth it, when you'll want to rush ahead just to feel control again. But that's when you must remind yourself, peace is not found in certainty, but in surrender. The calmest souls are not those who have all the answers, but those who've learned to stop demanding them. You will know you've reached that kind of peace when you can look at a delay and say, if it's not happening now, it's not supposed to. When you can look at rejection and say, it's redirection. When you can look at loss and whisper, something better is being born through this. That kind of trust turns confusion into clarity, pain into patience, and waiting into worship. So instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what is this teaching me? Instead of saying, I'm behind, remind yourself, I'm being refined. Instead of resenting the pause, rest in it. Because when life delays you, it's never to deny you, it's to develop you. Every divine detour is building strength you'll need for the blessings ahead. In time, you'll look back and thank the seasons that forced you to slow down. You'll realize that the waiting wasn't empty, it was sacred space, shaping your wisdom and sharpening your faith. You'll see that what took so long to arrive was never late. It came right on time when your heart was finally ready to receive it. The truth is, peace doesn't come from perfect timing. It comes from perfect trust, from knowing that the universe is never early and never late, only precise. You may not understand the timing now, but one day you'll see why it had to unfold this way. And when that day comes, you'll smile at the memory of your impatience, because you'll finally understand you were never waiting for life to happen to you. Life was waiting for you to grow into the person capable of holding what was always meant for you. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the noise of the world becomes unbearable, when the voices around you and the ones inside your own head grow too loud to think, too crowded to feel, too restless to breathe. We live in an age that worships noise, the endless scrolling, the constant talking, the need to respond, explain, prove, post, defend. It never stops. But peace doesn't exist in the volume of life. It lives in the quiet beneath it. Stillness is not the absence of movement. It's the presence of meaning. And if you truly want to live a peaceful life, you must learn to choose stillness over noise. The world will tell you that stillness is laziness, that slowing down means falling behind. But stillness is not idleness, it's awareness. It's the art of returning to yourself, the practice of remembering what actually matters when everything else tries to convince you otherwise. When you choose stillness, you begin to hear the gentle voice of your own soul again. You begin to remember that peace was never something to be found. It was something you forgot you already carried within you. We chase so much noise because silence can be uncomfortable. It forces us to face what we've buried, the grief, the loneliness, the questions without answers. Noise numbs what silence reveals. But the truth is, healing can't happen in noise. Growth doesn't happen in chaos. The voice of wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers. It speaks softly in the moments we stop running, stop scrolling, stop performing. It comes in the pause between breaths, in the space between thoughts. You cannot meet your higher self until you learn to sit with yourself. When life feels heavy, when your mind is restless, when everything demands your attention, that's when stillness becomes your rebellion. Sit quietly, not because you have all the answers, but because you no longer want to be ruled by questions. The more you practice silence, the more you realize how much of the world's noise is just distraction, the endless race to appear busy, important, validated. Stillness strips away those illusions. It returns you to truth. It reminds you that your worth is not in what you produce, post, or perform. It's in who you are when everything goes quiet. Peace begins when you stop reacting to every sound that calls your name. Not every invitation deserves your presence. Not every argument deserves your answer. Some moments are best met with silence, not response. There is power in restraint. There is grace in choosing not to attend every battle you're invited to. You don't owe anyone your energy just because they demand it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Stillness teaches you to listen, not just to others, but to life itself. When you slow down, you begin to notice the subtleties you missed in your rush to arrive. The way the light shifts in the morning, the sound of your own heartbeat, the peace in simple moments that once went unseen. These small miracles are the language of stillness. And when you start paying attention to them, gratitude blooms effortlessly. Suddenly, you no longer chase extraordinary moments. You realize how extraordinary the ordinary already is. You will find that the quieter you become, the clearer life becomes. In noise, you seek validation. In stillness, you find truth. Noise says, do more. Stillness says, be more. Noise says, prove your worth. Stillness whispers, you already are enough. It's in stillness that you reconnect with your intuition, that deep knowing that always guides you right when logic fails. But the intuition can't speak through constant noise. It's like a soft melody drowned by the roar of the crowd. You have to step back, breathe, and listen. There's a deep peace that arrives when you realize you don't have to respond to everything. You don't have to chase every thought or fix every moment. Some things heal on their own when you give them the quiet space to breathe. Stillness doesn't demand, it allows. It's the posture of trust, of believing that you don't need to control every outcome for life to unfold beautifully. The need to control is born in fear. Stillness is born in faith. When you choose stillness, you are choosing to trust that what is meant for you will not pass you by. The world thrives on urgency, on making you believe that if you pause, you'll miss out. But the truth is, it's in the pause that you find what truly matters. You don't miss out when you slow down. You align. You see clearly which paths are meant for you and which were only distractions dressed as destiny. Stillness reveals the difference between movement and meaning, between progress and peace. You cannot heal in the same noise that broke you. You cannot find yourself in spaces that demand you to constantly perform. The soul doesn't bloom under pressure. It unfolds in quiet. That's why solitude feels like medicine. That's why nature feels like home. They remind you of your natural rhythm, calm, steady, unhurried. You were not created to live at the pace of notifications and deadlines. You were created to live at the pace of breath, of grace, of now. Choosing stillness also means being brave enough to unplug, to sit without distraction, to breathe without a screen, to feel without filters. The mind will resist it at first. It will reach for noise because silence feels foreign. But if you can sit through those first few moments of discomfort, you'll find something sacred waiting beneath the noise. Peace. Real, unshakable peace. The kind that doesn't depend on circumstances, the kind that stays even when the world shakes. You will notice that when you begin to honor stillness, your relationships change too. You'll no longer chase people who bring chaos. You'll crave connection with those who feel like quiet mornings, not thunderstorms. You'll stop matching other people's pace and start moving to your own. Stillness teaches you how to protect your peace, not by closing your heart, but by choosing what and who you allow to disturb it. Stillness is not about running away from the world. It's about coming back home to yourself within it. It's standing in the middle of the storm and saying, I will not be moved. It's finding serenity, not because life is calm, but because you are. It's the understanding that the world will always make noise, but you no longer have to let it live rent-free in your soul. In a world that glorifies constant motion, choosing stillness is an act of courage. It's refusing to let the world dictate your rhythm. It's saying, I don't need to rush. I am exactly where I'm meant to be. When you choose stillness, you reclaim your power. You stop chasing the next thing and start cherishing the now. You stop performing peace and start living it. Because peace was never in the noise. It was always in the quiet space within you, the one that never needed fixing, only remembering. So slow down, breathe, listen. The world may be loud, but your soul still knows the sound of stillness. And when you finally learn to hear it, you'll realize you were never lost, only surrounded by too much noise to hear your own truth. My dear listener, you were never meant to control the wind, only to learn how to dance beneath it. When you stop chasing control, life unfolds with a grace you didn't know existed. The peace you seek is not in the fixing of things, but in the faith that even broken things can be beautiful. You do not need to win every battle. You only need to rest in the knowing that what's yours will always find you, and what isn't was never meant to stay. So breathe, release, and let the world turn without taking your calm with it.